42 million people are at risk of not receiving their EBT benefits in the month of November, I don't think that the grocery store staff should be risking their lives for a bag of groceries. This is a very scary thing. People are going to do what they have to do to feed their children. They're going to do what they have to do to feed their children. No mother or father is going to want to sit and see their children starve because the government is shut down. And for the mamas and papas that are worried about this, I want you to keep this in mind. There are still good people out here that are going to help. Okay? They're going to help. They're going to want to help to make sure that your children eat. So before you go into the grocery stores, or before you get to the point where you feel you have to go into the grocery stores and start taking things, please allow people to help you think. I know it won't be for everyone, but please keep that in mind. And blessings to you all.
Yes, we do. We have legal authority. We're allowed to do that. And if we do buy land, we may go back to Congress. But we have, this is a national security problem. They killed 300,000 people last year. These drugs coming in. They killed 300,000 Americans last year. And that gives you legal authority. We have a national security, really. And I will say this. When you look at the people we're dealing with, and we know them. We know the people coming in. We know the boats. We know everything else. We're allowed to do it. It's in international waters. If we don't do it, we're going to lose hundreds of thousands of people. Now, they'll be coming in by land a little bit more because they're not coming in by boat anymore. There are no boats in the water. There are no more boats. We know the boat almost immediately. You know, it's pretty unusual when you see somebody with a fishing rod and 5 engines on the back of the boat. You know, you don't need that to go fishing. Wait. And we will hit them very hard when they come in by land. And they haven't experienced that yet, but now we're totally prepared to do that. We'll probably go back to Congress and explain exactly what we're doing when we come to the land. We don't have to do that, but I think, Marco, I'd like to do that. You may respond to that if you want.
Well, I mean, the question is, bottom line, these are drug boats. If people want to stop seeing drug boats blow up, stop sending drugs to the United States.
But does it matter if it's in the United States?
Well, these are all in international waters.
The boat. Do a strike in the United States, or if North America?
Well, that's a different matter. Now you're talking about a law enforcement matter. In this particular case, there are people traveling on international waters headed towards the United States with hostilities in mind, which includes flooding our country with dangerous, deadly drugs, and they're going to be stopped. And that's what's happening. And in the case last week, you saw there was a submarine. It was a submarine. It was a submersible. That's a drug boat all the way through. We know what these boats are. The president just said it. We tracked them from the very beginning. We know who's on them, who they are, where they're coming from, what they have on them. You know, if you're running drug boats, you're in grave danger.
And drug usage is way down. And drug usage coming from the sea, they call it ocean drugs, little term that they use, the ocean drugs, is very close to non-existent right now. I wouldn't want to be in one of those boats heading away. You know, they're driving happily to destroy the lives of people, and they end up, that's the end of them. So the ocean drugs and the sea drugs, drugs by sea they call it also, that's almost down to nothing, as you can imagine. So they continue to come in by land and a little bit less because they see something is going to happen. They don't like it. They see something, and they're right. Something very serious is going to happen. The equivalent of what's happening by sea. And we're going to Congress just to tell them what we're doing, just to keep them informed. So we have to.
Shalom to the house of Israel. I'm your brother Abaniah of the South Arm of the Great Millstone Camp, Heralds of Yahushai, coming to you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. I take this time to give all honor, all glory, all praises, all reverence to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Harakakudash, double honors to the apostles, prophets, and teachers of Great Millstone, our spiritual fathers who rule well, teach well. Peace and salutations to the sincere Akim and Akwat who follow this truth in all diligence and all sincerity.
They're going to do what they have to do to feed their children.
Right. First, I would like to give this disclaimer to the lazy Christians and those who accuse us wrongfully. This is not a black thing. This is not a white thing. We don't endorse nor have we ever been a part of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. This is a seedline doctrine geared towards calling the true children of Yasharallah back to their power. We teach no such doctrine that only black people would be saved. So with that being said, let's delve into the lesson. Now with the first video, you heard the lady speaking about, the by November, SNAP benefits will be no more. The government in America has, I think it has crumbled, claiming various reasons, So the benefits that people once enjoyed under the regime would be no more. Now the question is it a case that they don't have any money to upkeep these benefits? The answer is yes, of course they could. But again, you have to remember everything is heading to the implementation and the forceful mandation of the RFID chip, which is the MOTB. And in order to get it to that juncture, certain moves must be made, right? And this is the beginning stages, if you will, of the move towards the forceful mandation of the MOTB. So, we live in interesting times, people. And if you can't see it, then you need to pray to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai that He sup with you and open your eyes to see what we have been privileged to see. All right? She talks about the grocery store workers because with no benefits, they have a lot of single mothers. These mothers are the ones who get rid of the fathers of their children to live off the promises of the government. So the government was taking care of them. Now the government is no more. Who is going to take care of them? Who is going to upkeep that lifestyle? And when hunger takes place, what you're going to have? People acting like beasts, being irrational. And this is why this woman is advising the workers of the various grocery stores, because what she is telling you is going to have rioting, it's going to have looting. It's inevitable when people no longer have the means to feed their families, right? She's telling the grocery workers and stuff, don't lose your life over a bag of groceries. Don't try to protect somebody else's profits, right? And you lose your life in the process. Then you saw the various clips, the two still shots, where Venezuela military is on full alert and ready should a strike come from the US from the country of Trinidad and Tobago, which is my country, And we have always said this, Trinidad is nothing more than little America. It's a puppet for America. And then you see in the next slide, Maduro, talking about how much armaments he have from Russia that he would use should America strike their land or invade their borders. And the last one you hear President Trump and his advisors speaking about, the bombing of based on their intelligence, as they say they have gathered in relation to drug running boats. Just about a week or two ago, we had the U.S. forces bombing a boat in Caribbean waters. And on the boat was two of our nationals, And they claim it was a drug running boat, a drug running operation. Now we know America didn't leave all the way they are to come to the Caribbean, to the back door of Venezuela simply for drugs. That's a bullshit excuse if I have ever heard one. We all know the modus operandi of the West, and they would use flimsy excuses to carry out their plans of subjugation, domination, and the raiding of country, the resources of a country. Right? We know their modus operandi. Scripture says, he oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. This has always been the way, because according to the blessing they receive, by the force of the sword, they shall endure the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven. By thy sword, the scripture said they would live. So they are just simply fulfilling their assigned roles. But don't be fooled. Their movements in the various parts of the world is not for peace, justice, and liberty for all. It's not for equality and fair treatment. Those are empty platitudes that they use to enforce their will. You know, they love to preach democracy, but when in actuality they don't believe anything in democracy. They don't uphold democracy. It's all about seeking the interests of the elite and maintaining their grip on world domination and the power, global power that they have. So it's sad to see that Jake's, not paying attention. We have Jakes who believe in the enemy, and as the scriptures tell us, woe to them that go to Egypt for help. Because the Egyptians are men. Let me get that precept. Let's see. Bear with me. This is Isaiah 31 and verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many. And this is the reason why the government of my country is in league with America, because they are afraid to trust in America. So they rather be on their good side than to be on their bad side. So they have taken up arms along with America to overthrow the government of another country. It says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and that stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh. And this is what our people are doing. They trust in the government of the day. They're not seeking Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right? Because to them, why should I have to die to live paradise on earth? And this is the type of foolish things they are being told and they are believing. Right? But never mind history showing you that for era of peace to be achieved, the oppressor must be ousted. He must be put down. And in the effort or the bid to put him down, lives are going to be lost. This is an inescapable outcome of war. It's an inescapable outcome in the pursuit of peace. When the kingdom is going to be given back to us, we are going to have to take it by force. We are going to put many of these enemies and heathens of Israel to death. That's the reality. Peace cannot be achieved without the shedding of blood, without war. And these enemies and oppressors who sing and harp on to you about activism and democracy and all these things, and try to get it through peaceful means, all that is in a bid and an effort to keep you from uprising and opposing them, making you believe that the means of peace could be achieved through you just protesting. peaceful protests with placards. No. They never got the land. They never got controllership of the earth by waving placards and singing about peace and love and unity for all. It's through the force of the sword, And then you have these women, who have become the biggest agents to Esau Edom and his oppression and destruction of the children of Israel. But what you see taking place now Esau has reached the point where he don't need you. He's cutting you off. And there's a precept to that regard, where the women would be trying to remember. For the love of me, my mind seemed to be running a blank on it. But Yahweh willing, he will bring it to remembrance. Let's get Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24, and we're reading from verse 3 to verse 30. It says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?" And whether you could see it or not, the end of the world is upon us. And when I say the end of the world, it doesn't mean the end of the existence of the earth, the planet Earth. It's the end of the governments that rule this earth. There's going to be a shift in power. Power and rulership will be once more restored to its rightful rulers. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. And when you look at Hamashiach or Christ, it means anointed one. And you have many leaders calling themselves the anointed one. Trump even, dubbing himself, the king. You have persons who dub him the Caesar. It says, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall arise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Notice what it says. All these are the beginning of sorrow. And what sorrow is that? The beginning of Jacob's trouble. So Jacob's trouble is upon us, people. It is upon us. Because all the events and all the things that we see taking place is taking place right now as we speak. Throughout the earth, there is civil unrest, civil uprising, the government passing draconian laws meant to oppress and restrict the movement and the freedom of persons. Right? And all these things were prophesied in the scriptures. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to end this part of the lesson. This would be part 1 for the sake of persons being able to listen to the lesson on the go and get the edification being presented, because, Jake have a short attention span. So tune in for part 2 of the lesson, Jacob's trouble is upon us. I'm your brother Abaniah saying Shalom, and see you for part 2 of the lesson.